I'll do. Just doing a quick video here. I'm going to be doing something a bit different. I'm going to be editing a video into this one, so if it's a bit rough around the edges, I do apologise. And I apologise for the sound quality of the recording because I've only got my phone to work with. It's just a direct screen recording and the audio done from the video while it's playing. So apologies for the quality. It's only a minute long, so please watch it, even if you only watch that video and then disregard the rest. Just to give you something to have a think about at the very least. I'll be back in a minute.
Sorry, do I know you?
No.
Why are you dressed like that? Why are you not covered up? Why are you dressed like that? Why are you showing off yourself, showing off your knee? Why are you dressed like that? Why are you not covered up? And you as well, why are you not covered up? You don't catch a cold. You don't feel cold.
No.
You don't fear the cold. You don't fucking fear the cold. You want me to show you why it means to fear the cold? Why not cover up yourself like decent games? What the fuck? Where the fuck do you live? Do you have parents? You have a father?
Yeah.
You have a father and you're fucking dressed. Your dad fucking let you out of the house dressed like this. Your dad left you out of the house dressed like this. Who is your father? Who is your dad? Who is your dad? Your dad left you out of the house dressed like this. Huh?
I'm going home.
Yeah, make sure you get home.
My
Now.
dad's over there.
Now! Go home!
Right, so you've just seen that video. Obviously, we have a foreign man who's clearly not of indigenous origins, not just from his accent, but from obviously he's looking at his face and his hands. He's obviously, even if he was born in the UK, which I highly doubt due to his accent, he's from abroad. He's clearly a foreign individual, and I'd probably say Nigeria myself, listening to his accent. Now, obviously, with the title of this video, I'm going to be coming at this from a certain stint. And that stint being, is this actually colonisation, what we're looking at, or a form of it? Now, colonisation, when people think about it, they think of, say, like the colonisation of Australia, which was multiple ships being sent to Australia, organised by the government of the time, with people turning up and building buildings and gradually encroaching further and further onto other land. But what people often miss out with colonisation as well is the interpersonal interactions between the indigenous populations and the people themselves. Now, what we are seeing is a kind of colonisation, which I believe is happening in the West, which is these people who are coming over here are, although they individually might not be, but in the same way, neither were the prisoners who were sent to Australia or the pilgrims who went to America individually. They were people making their own choices. However, the ships and the larger scale operations were organised by outside groups and vested interest groups, like ship owners and merchants and the governments themselves. And that is really what I think we are seeing in the West, when we see, like in the Mediterranean, with the non-governmental organisations sailing hundreds of miles to about 13 miles off the Libyan coast and collecting boats and then ferrying them all the way to Europe. We're seeing people being transported across landmasses across the whole continent of Europe, or subcontinent, I should say, of Europe. And same again, we're seeing like the RNLI and our own border force again organising trafficking and moving these people. We have hotels involved in the housing of these people, and airliners refusing to deport these people. So in that regard, I do think that there is a simile to historical colonisation. But back to my original point on before that, which is the interpersonal individual accounts. Now, obviously, when you look at countries like Australia or the United States or Canada, the dominant cultures there are not the indigenous cultures anymore. It is people of Europeans' descent culture. And in some cases, also things like, say, with the African-American parts of the country, you're starting to see an encroachment of that culture. And this only comes about via individual interactions. No, I'm not saying it's wrong that settlers stopped Indians in America from scalping people. And scalping is a very complicated topic, and it's not just one tribe that did it. And each tribe, and even different groups within the same tribe, would do it for different reasons. And there were many reported cases of people being scalped while they were still alive. I can't remember the name of the battle, but there was one famous battle that happened, or massacre, where the Indians killed a load of people, and the US Army turned up and they found a woman and a young child had both been scalped, and obviously the top of the heads had been taken off, walking around with the skulls, you know, basically facing the sun. And they went on to live full lives after that, you know. So it's not even like these people were being scalped and a few days later they'd die of, say, infection. People, I don't know how often it was, but people did lead full lives. I think they had to wear hats and wigs and that for the rest of their life after that. And it was probably very painful around the edges, and I imagine prone to infection as well. But, you know, so it's a very complicated topic, but it's not wrong that that was stopped. Or when you look at the Polynesian islands, going from New Zealand over to Hawaii, you know, the rampant cannibalism that used to happen and the hunting of other people. Again, I don't think that was necessarily wrong that it stopped, but those traditions are very at the very least. Having met people from Fiji, they still go through the motions of the celebrations, what were around it, and they keep the big clubs that they used to use for smashing people's skulls open to get the brains out and things like that. So there is still the memory of it there, but whether they resort back to that if things went wrong, I don't know. Probably, I'd like to think not. But those practices didn't stop because there was a vote or because the overwhelming force of governments necessarily got involved. A lot of that was stopped by people meeting each other on a day-to-day and stopping somebody in the street and saying, "Oi, you, what are you wearing that pagan outfit for? That's disgusting." It's no different to what this man in this video is doing right now. He's acting just like colonists did in the past to the indigenous populations, where they would berate them and be incredibly disdainful and disrespectful to the people in which land they now lived. And that is really the point that I'm alluding to with this video, is we are seeing an assertion of foreign culture being used to stamp on top of the indigenous culture of these islands. And the problem is because we are such a high trust and highly tolerant society, we as a group of people who are very atomised have no way really combating against this. Although that is one man on his own, I would imagine if a member of the public was to intervene in that scenario, he would very quickly be on his phone and there would be 10 other boys turning up and kicking off with that individual. I have absolutely no doubts for that whatsoever. This is seen quite a lot in Islamic communities as well, like with the very famous examples where they've turned up outside schools, highly organised. But even when, say, bailiffs turn up at a house because somebody's had a court order for non-payment, the moment the bailiffs turn up in certain communities, there'll be 50 people turn up. And in my opinion, it's seditious behaviour, but the police don't deal with it. And these are incredibly organised people in that regard, and they are using their cultural heritage and tribalism as a cudgel to enforce their will onto the majority population. There's not really much more I can say on that. I'd just really be saying the same thing, but just waffling a bit. So I'm gonna leave it there. But hopefully that's given you something to think about. If you found that informative, please like, subscribe, and put a comment below. Thank you for now. Goodbye.